telemarketing business, and it was in the real estate industry. And in 2008, when it started to crumble, I was like, man, I got to go back to doing floors. And so then I kind of set it up where I just transitioned. I've done it with no debt. I will not do. I don't believe in debt. I actually teach financial literacy through something else I do, and so I've done it all. It was a hard road, but that's kind of how I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm, a lot of people say it takes 25,000 hours of doing something consistently to become an expert, to master that field, and that's what I've done, because I know so much about it that, the people, they understand I know, because I guess I come across like I know.
Sure.
So, sure.
Well, they always say, whoever's convinced the most comes off the best, right? So, and conveying that conviction is a big deal. So, so help me understand, and the audience, you get this idea through a friend. What's one of the first 2 or 3 things that you did did you seek out a lawyer to incorporate? Did you just kind of put the paperwork together with a CPA? What are some first steps that you think about, like, hey, okay, I got to get a place, I got to get incorporated, I got to get machinery, or did you have some of that stuff and you kind of just were ready to roll once you decided?
Well, since I was doing this with no debt and hardly any capital whatsoever, I'm the type of person, I just was like, first I need to go sell some jobs.
Okay.
The other stuff will fall in line, and I started doing a lot of reading. Like, there's a book I read called E-Myth Revisited that changed a lot. Like, it, you know what I mean? Because I teach that stuff, and like I said, something else I do, and that was one of the books. But I'm just a go-getter, so I went and sold the jobs, and then as I got bigger, because a lot of people worry about, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And they get nervous when they don't even have the work yet. They don't even have the money coming in. So I think, get the money in, the other stuff will handle itself, because the hardest part is getting the money in, right?
Sure.
And so then the rest kind of falls into place. I use legals, and, so I let them do my stuff for me.
Awesome. So you used a service, right? And you kind of just said, hey, let me go sell these products. I know what to do. I know how to sell them. I know how to, do the estimates, right, and give a good estimate. And you know that you're not going to lose your butt off, even if it's just now your own business.
Right.
What were some of the things that you needed to, maybe equipment-wise, or was there certain services that you were willing to start with and then add on other ones?
I have done that, and I think that was a mistake, because I think you should focus on what you're an expert at.
Okay.
Because so I have done other work to where my guys aren't necessarily an expert, and so that kind of hurts you. So, but I like to stay with what I know, and as far as equipment goes, I would wait, sell the job, and the homeowner doesn't have to know all the gory details. I make a friend with them and tell them a little bit about my past, you know what I mean? So they feel comfortable and, feel that I'm honest and stuff. And then I just get the down payment, and then I go rent the equipment.
Okay.
That's how I first started. Now I own everything, but.
Oh, neat. So there's a clue, everyone, success leaves clues, as they say. Dale didn't wait, number one, to have everything perfect. He went out and got jobs because he had the experience of how to get the jobs. So he went out and got the jobs. He then rents the equipment to get the jobs done and starts to get that cash flow going. I love it. So help me understand, were you just kind of a one-man operation initially? Obviously, you went from employee to self-employed, or had you already kind of set up your network where you brought in someone to help you, that type of side of things? How did you set up your network?
I started a lot of it on my own, but when I'm going through life, I've got plenty of friends and stuff like that. It's like, hey man, I need a job or this and that. And so there's always people willing to work. Really. I mean, I've got an overload of applicants now of people, wanting to come to work. So yeah, I just started doing it. And I think I did do the first one. I did a hospital by myself because my youngest son that just got out of the Marine Corps, his aunt and uncle had a cleaning business.
Mm.
And so we kind of went through all that, and you know what I mean? They were like, they knew I did it in the past, so they kind of were like, hey, will you do this job? And that's really how it really kicked off. And, you know, and I talked to my best employee at my telemarketing company, and I was like, we're changing gears. Do you want to go with? And he was like, man, I'll follow you anywhere. And so that's really how it happened.
Wow. And so that's also a unique twist, right? You own a totally different business, but you had the foundation of this other business and the things that you knew what to do. So what was the dissolving mechanism? How did you dissolve that one? Did you have a partnership? And then obviously this one, it sounds like you started on your own. What's a little bit of the backstory on that?
It was, I owned it outright. Now what happened with that is when I went and got it because I thought I was going to go to school and get my MBA, right? And I found out, even though I got good grades, I was like, man, I already know most of this stuff. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And so I had this job where I was telemarketing for this company to make pretty good money because I'm a good salesman, you know, and I talk to people, and they didn't pay me for one of my sales. And I told them, I said, well, I'll just go start my own and run you out of business. And I know that I shouldn't have said that, but I felt ripped off.
Yeah.
And so I got one phone line in. I was living in a trailer. I got one phone line in, and I found the guy that owned this timeshare company, and he was like, how did you find me? I got his cell phone number. He was on his boat. He gave me a contract. Next thing you know, I've got 5 phones in my trailer, right? And so I'm like, man, let's just go bigger than this. So then I invested like 10 grand into a phone system, and I got an office building and everything. And man, I was paying some guys $1,000 a week, and we had 32 tables, and I did it all with, again, no debt.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I created the money, and everything. I kept enough to live on. You know what I mean? To eat, but I didn't go buy new cars. I didn't do debt. You know, I've never had a car payment, even though I've got a couple brand new vehicles out in the driveway. You know what I mean? I just saved for it, and so then. That's how I got the office space. And then in 2008, when the economy crashed because of the housing market, that directly impacted us. Mm. And I'd seen it coming. And so what I did is people were dropping off. We couldn't get places to do. I decided to close it, and I moved it back to my house. And instead of me being on the phone, I got an auto dialer, and I hooked it up to my computer. And it would call 800 people in a day. I would go do my top floors and more thing, and I'd come back at night and I'd have a couple messages, and I'd fulfill their needs until it completely died away. But it helped transition because that phone system cost me another $1,000 for the auto dialer. But I just knew if I could do enough to get me over here, you know what I mean? Like
sure.
Just keep going. I don't have time to stop and quit.
I love it, man. You know, you're really talking to the heart of Americans, right? That truly invest in just doing it, right? Getting into business. You got basically scorned a little bit from not getting paid, and rightfully so. You start your own thing. You develop it. You self-invest. Is there a percentage or a formula that you've kind of acquired in your life that you say to yourself, hey, for every $1, I'm going to save this no matter what, and I'm going to live off of this? Especially, obviously, at the beginning of stages with people becoming entrepreneurs and listening to this story, is there maybe a formula that you'd like to share financially that you use for every $1 coming in? Is there a way that you separate that dollar out?
So what I do is I pay myself a minimal salary. And if I have something big, then I can always write a bonus. I pay myself enough to pay my rent, my utilities and stuff like that, right? And the rest goes back to the company. But I give 10%. I always pay myself first, 10%, and I always pay God 10%. And that's the two things right there that I think really matter. And the rest of it is just having a budget. And if you don't need it, you don't need it, because if you delay your gratification, man, you know what I mean? That's what I call it, delay your gratification, then it comes in later.
I love it. So really, ladies and gentlemen, the principle there is, Dale has a belief, and it's a foundation that he's been able to put in his life that he pays 10% to his spiritual side, 10% to himself, and be able to live off of and pay the bills, but at a minimal standard, and then sock away everything else so that he knows, like, when he needs that big piece of equipment or make that move to that new place or what have you, or that big job that requires a little bit more upfront in labor and those things that you have to cost. It sounds like you've kind of worked out this formula for yourself. That's pretty awesome. So tell me, obviously you start getting a rhythm. You got this deal that you got through some family. You got referred to this one. And then let's say 6-12 months into it, are you starting to scale also the employees? Do you have subcontractors? How did you form the business in that sense?
Okay. I say first time, and I'll explain that in a minute. After I started just like getting too much work, and man, I was running like 18 hours a day doing day jobs, night jobs, and slowly it just came about that as I needed people were there, you know what I mean? I got the help, it was there. My cousin, he wanted, the key thing is if someone's worth it, pay them. Mm-hmm. That you have to pay them. And like my cousin back then, $16 an hour was a lot of money, but I knew he would manage my business. So I hired him to manage everything. And so I just went and kept the eye on stuff as it was going, training people and stuff like that, but he managed the business, and it took a lot of relief off my shoulders, because I'm a sales guy. I'm the guy out talking to the people. And if I don't do that, then the rest of it will fall apart. That's where the E-Myth Revisited came in. It taught me how to, get the right person to manage for you, to help you out, and pay them, because it's going to, in the long run, it's going to make a difference, like a huge difference. So I can't remember the rest of your...
No, I love the principle there. Honestly, you're sharing something that we've talked about in some other interviews. Paying someone that $15 to $20 an hour type job, that work, and then you go make $100 to $250 worth of hourly work. That's the difference, right? You start to see that you're worth 100, 150, 200, maybe more, right? Per hour, where you could diversify your time, which is something that you can't get back. You can't buy back
right.
time, but you used it to pay someone very well, someone that you trusted. You kept an eye on the business, but also paid someone to kind of handle that whole other side. So neat. So you're a sales guy, right? I mean, we can all see it, right? Dale Dorch, man, like he's doing it right. He's excited. He's passionate about this thing, and so. Help me understand. I mean, where do you start to see kind of the difference of going from independent, contractor on your own business? You had this telecommunication and phone calling business, and now you got into this top floors and more. Where do you start to see the tweak? Did you start to, invest into seminars? Are you going to industry, seminars and stuff like that? What are you doing to then tweak your business to become where it's gone, and where you're going?
That's a great question, and it just gave me cold chills. In 2012, I ran for state rep in Illinois, okay. And I was with the Constitution Party. And so what had happened and I'm not trying to get political, I'm just telling you the story. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party both attacked me really hard. I was the first one to ever get on the ballot in Illinois, and the second one in the country to ever do it. They said it was impossible to do, but I did it. They destroyed my business. Like literally, I lost one contract that was $97,000 a year just for cleaning a mine. I had 2 people there 5 nights a week, 6 hours a night, right? And Kent was one of them, paying him $16 an hour. He was doing that plus managing the business. I had $50 general stores. I had Hobby Lobby. I had 100 hucks. I mean, at this time I was well into 6 figures, and still no debt. Well, they took every contract from me, totally destroyed me. So I decided to go to Florida to find my real family. And so I talked to a cousin on Facebook. He said, "Come down here. I'll help you get your business going. I own some property." I get down there. The property he owns is 2 trailers. One of the trailers, so I land this job at a pawn shop that's all around Tampa. They have about 10 of them. I had some money saved and everything, had my tools, equipment, truck, all that stuff. And so I do all these jobs. He doesn't pay me. I did it out of pocket, right? So I lost that money. So now I'm getting to the point of having to sell tools, equipment, and all this stuff. The trailer I was in, my cousin ripped the outside wall of it off while I was living in it. You know what I mean? And so I lost everything. Ended up having to sell my truck. I lost completely everything. Then I was behind on my child support for about 40 grand. And so I got my license yanked from me. This is all in 2012. I come back I come back to Illinois. I live with some friends, my son's aunt and uncle, and they let me stay in the basement. The ones that got me the cleaning gig the first time, they let me stay in the basement, and that basement flooded every day. I ruined a computer over it. For walls, I had a tarp. I had tarp walls in a 10 by 10 area. Couldn't drive, didn't have a vehicle, had nothing. And so I get back, and my friend that ran for governor, he said, Dale, I got a CD that you need to listen to. And I was like, what is it? He said, it's from Life Leadership. And so I listened to the CD. It's called Camel in the Tent. And I was like, wow, this is good information. So I start listening to this information. And what it is just leadership, financial, all kinds of different stuff that you can learn about business and this and that. And I started listening to that stuff. And the first week I'm back, I sold the job because I knew what I had to do. I was like, man, I don't have time to cry about it. I don't have time. You know what I mean? Things happen for a reason. God must have had me go through this for a reason, right? And so as soon as I get back, I sold the job and I made a deal with Josh. I said, hey, man, if I book the jobs, I'll get this, just you cover the insurance, right? Because I didn't have money for the insurance. You got some equipment. I said, I'll sell the jobs. Let's do them, and we'll split it 50-50. He's like, all right. So I get to work, sold the job that week. 9 months later, the 40 grand was paid off in child support. I had bought a little bitty car. I used to pay someone to drive me around. And so I bought a little Honda. I was working out of it first, throwing flooring back there and stuff. And so then I traded it for a truck. Someone needed a car. We just did an even swap. And I kept going until, and I met I started dating my current wife. We dated back in college. Another long, crazy story. God works in crazy ways. But 9 months later, we had a house, 2 vehicles. The $40,000 was paid off. I was able to drive. This was in Illinois, and I'm up and running. I'm an LLC, and the economy starts doing really bad. And so I move everything down here to Kentucky. And I just kept listening to the right information, going to seminars. I've got a life coach. You know what I mean? And so, and it's all through an app, and I listen to the info every day. You know what I mean? To learn stuff, to keep me going, and to never give up. My goal is one day to be on stage sharing my story with people and hoping to inspire them, because I've had nothing a couple times and came back. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just something in me, man. I don't know what it is.
Hey, I can relate. There's been a couple businesses where it's been very nitty gritty, and some of them that have taken me down and all this type of stuff. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we may not be that one hit wonder that gets to millions and lives the best life ever. But it sounds like we could be inspirational to someone. And I know someone's going to watch this, Dale, and reach out to you or listen to it again. And man, this guy came from being a foster child to then, finding some of his family already doing well, and then gets, kind of screwed, for lack of a better word, comes back, gets into Illinois, and starts to do it all over again. So, wow, what a great story. So right now we're circa probably 2014. Is that correct? Where we're at in this story. So, right. You're back to top floors and more. You're reestablishing yourself in the community and in the surrounding areas. You came back, and, you obviously you're getting rides from people to start your business and all that stuff, but now you're back, and you find this beautiful,
feels good.
Yeah, you find this beautiful woman, you pay back the things that you had to do. So tell us a little bit about kind of the infrastructure, right? So operating wise, is there anything that you've picked up throughout the years that now, over the last 4 or 5, 6 years, that you do differently than you did, even 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, one of them is my oldest son. We were estranged, and for various reasons, both of our reasons, while he was growing up, and he came to my younger son's wedding, and the one that's in the Marine Corps, and Caleb, and my wife was like, "You got to give him a job," and I was, "No, I'm not. He's not cut out for this. He's a very excellent musician, like super talented, but she talked me into it, and so I did, and I started training him, and I couldn't give him any more raises after a couple years. I couldn't give him any more raises. He was already at 17 an hour. He's so good, and he's always there. So I gave him 40% of my business.
Okay.
And so and I pay my other guys really well. And so we're on the understanding, because sometimes when you have employees, they get mad if I'm not doing the work, or, with this and that, and they want more money and always complain, and they just don't get it that I'm the boss. Right? I'm not trying to act mean like a boss, but I've got other stuff to do, right?
Sure.
And so Caleb completely understands that, and so he takes care of all the labor, all that stuff. And so I no longer feel guilty about not doing the labor, because my job is more important, because you know what I mean? I'm in my office working, then I go out and do a bid, or if there's a problem, you know what I mean? I handle it. And so the biggest thing for me probably was after I read that book, it helped me realize that I don't have to be everywhere. If I'm the magic and I go away, then the whole show stops.
Yeah,
I have to not be the magic, and I have to build a system that works, right? And so that's why we do YouTube videos and stuff like that, because I can train guys on there too. You know what I mean? And so everything's done the way I do it, not someone down the line reinventing it. And it's just a system that works, and we're all part of the team.
I love it. Well, and you made that crucial decision, right, to give up a portion of your business to bring in the right type of partner. Just so happens that it's your son too, which is a pretty awesome and amazing thing. One of the hardest things in business, in America especially, is that second generation business, they say, right? 75% of second generation businesses fail because really your heart of Dale Dortch may not be able to be transferred to that next person. But it looks like, sounds like Caleb really has that heart and has that operational side humming and doing really well. So awesome. Yeah. So you started to build that out. You've got the right partnership right now. So what are some plans for Floors and More LLC, and where do you think you're going? How are you thinking even at the end of this year? Right now we're in December of 2020, sorry. Pandemic and all this craziness that happened this year. What are some plans, and how do you get prepared for the next year, and what are you looking to do?
So we, I try to keep an eye on stuff that's going on, and I know that once we come out of this little predicament that we're in, that things are going to be a lot different. And I've read stories about how the Kennedys and how during the Depression, even W. Clement Stone, during the Depression, man, they hired thousands of people, and they got prepared for what was coming because they could see what was coming, right? And so I just took our company, I invested about $60,000, counting, equipment, the classes and this and that, to go get certified in epoxy floors. Well, that's not even hit here yet. And once it does, I'm going to be the king. I mean, that's big money. It's big money. Like, if I got the airport, I've got an airport I'm working on, man, a week's worth of work, and I'm walking away with $80,000 type of stuff. You know what I mean? I've got everybody working and stuff like that, but and so my plan is capitalize on that when it comes out. Yes, I made an investment in the winter, and that's typically the slow time for my industry. February is actually. But I wanted to get a jump on it because I could see what's coming. You know what I mean? I pay attention to the financials and all that stuff that's happening, and we're going to capitalize on it. And then I'm going to start opening other locations. I've already got someone just about ready to open up a location. I just got to take care of some legal stuff. But they're going to get the training from us. We're going to build a training center to where we have everybody, like a franchise. They come in, we train them, right? So they do things our way because it's my name on it. And then we just start opening up locations everywhere and just go from there.
Are you looking
franchise out?
So you're looking to franchise, number one. So Top Floors and More. Stay tuned for franchises and opportunities. You've got that system going. Are you thinking about, is it retail locations, or when you say location, just a new spot on the map that opens up and maybe a website to be able to link towards that communication and connecting with those people that will do the work there?
Most of it just a new spot on the map, because I've tried the retail side, and it's not, you know what I mean? It's too up and down. But with everything we do so much when it comes to floors, from concrete to wood to vinyl, you know what I mean, to rebuilding floor. I mean, there's enough work out there. And this new epoxy, when it hits nationwide, man, you know, when the herd goes there, you know what I mean? I want to lead that herd to us, because that's where that's where the next industries come when it comes to floors. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, you know, how we went through our wood stage, and then we went through, now we're in a vinyl stage, but, you know, remember the polished concrete that came out a few years ago? It was the thing to do. Well, now epoxy's the new one.
Okay.
And so, like, the Nashville airport is all done in epoxy. Probably yours too. So it's like, it's the thing of the future for us. I mean, it's like big money. Like,
and is there I guess a maintenance that happens with that, or just a one-time type thing, and then it lasts for 20 years and you stay connected?
That'll last a while, but the thing is you set your customer up on a maintenance program. I offer every customer that I have a maintenance program, because if you want to spend a lot of money, you know, you want your floors to be, I take care of your floor like it's my own. I redid the floors in our house that we bought, because I'm like, I can't live here. You know what I mean? Owning a floor business, and so I have to, like, I put everyone into our system. I bring them into our system, and I'm not afraid to help people. I'm like, look, if you want to tackle this job by yourself, I've got videos that can teach you how to do it. You know what I mean? So that shows that I'm doing something out of my heart, not for money.
Sure.
And it brings them back every time, you know.
So you started to build a culture. You've got a business partner now. Not only is he family, but he's well invested into the business. So how many employees right now do you have? And then also, have you technically you're in the midst of that new location? Are they going to be a franchise model, or just an extension right now, a new location for you?
So I've got 8 employees right now, but that generates 2 crews. You know what I mean? During the day, and it's kind of slow, but as it picks back up, we'll increase that. And I would just, as far as the franchising, the first one possibly might be my youngest son. So we'll see how that goes. You know what I mean? I raised him, so he knows how I am. It's going to be, you know, all on the up and up. And but I would prefer a business. Let them have ownership in it, because then they'll take pride in it when it's their business. But they just order their products through me, you know. And so that'd be the retail side, actually. And they just, you know, then I get my percentage back.
Sure.
Every month. And so they own their own business.
What are some things that you've done to kind of structure that part? Did you, talk to a franchise lawyer? Are you talking to franchise brokers? What's some homework that you did to now kind of put your mind into, okay, hey, I've got a system in operation. Here's what I'm going to do to set up my own franchise model.
The book, The Founder,
okay,
is probably the best reference that I know of that. And he's kind of like me. He went out and did it before he got all the legal stuff done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
He had a vision, and he just went and did it, and the rest will fall into place.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
I've got, you know, I pay for a legal service, so they're ready to them. That's just everyday work. You know what I mean?
Sure. No.
I try not to sweat about that too much.
So I guess what are, you know, you've kind of shared so many different things, and I hope everybody's getting a lot of great value, understanding kind of what the mindset was to start it. What are some things that he did, right? Dale went out and sold jobs, appraised them, and then came back and got all the equipment and things needed to get it done. Falls on his face a little bit, goes down to Florida, finds some unfortunate side of things, comes back, rebuilds, and boy, now he's got 8 employees. He's got an operation, he's got a partner now, and all these things. So tell us 2 or 3 things that now you're working on that you feel like are going to be differentiators. And as we dwindle down the interview here, we'll go into the CEO part of our interview. So 2 or 3 things that you're working on that you feel are coming on with Top Floors and More, besides obviously the epoxy side.
Couple things I'm working on. One is just studying and knowing where I'm going to take our company. Is constantly reading. I try to follow other leaders, like Orrin Woodward. He's the top 19th leadership guru in the world. And his protege, Chris Brady, is the top 29th. And I've got the right leadership to help me lead along the way. So probably the most important thing is taking that time. At a minimum, I read 15 minutes a day at a minimum. And so that creates that thing. But for me, that's probably the biggest, is just keep studying, keep learning. Yeah, run the office and stuff, and just looking for some other avenues I think we're going to get into, like buying some houses and remodeling them and flipping them. You know what I mean? Or rent them out. And actually, I was going to do one for Caleb, you know what I mean, since he's part of the business, and get to use that as a tax write-off anyway, and he can live in it. And then later down the road, that's an investment that's going to come back to us. Yeah, so that just a couple areas. Otherwise, man, I'm just going to do more advertising. You were saying earlier about Facebook. Facebook for me doesn't really work. It gets my name out there, but I really don't get any work out of it.
Okay.
What really gets me work is when I'm on Google and I upload pictures to Google, or I upload pictures to my website. Boom. And for some reason, it gets stuff stirring. And then the other biggest thing that I forgot to mention that we're getting ready to get back into for some other stuff is we go door to door. We make flyers up and we go door to door and introduce ourselves as a company. And that gets our name out there real fast because people, you know what I mean? They're like, wow, that's the number one, to me, that's the number one avenue of advertising. Getting out and talking to the people.
I love it. Old school, right? Too many people are only relying on this social media avenue, or how can I pay for advertisement? But nothing beats shaking a hand, saying hello, sharing the genuine story about why you feel like your service is the best, right? So tell everybody, where in Kentucky are you?
We're in Paducah, Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Western Kentucky. Yeah.
And what's the population there, Dale?
Well, it's about 38,000 here in town, but the surrounding is right at probably a 15-minute surrounding is 100,000.
Okay, 100,000.
And then a 30-mile radius is like 1.5 million.
Okay. So, and I'll give an example, ladies and gentlemen. I live in Naperville, Illinois, which is 180,000 just in Naperville. So this guy is in the middle of heart-built America, right? He's built something incredible. What's you don't have to give me the exact number, but are you in the high 6 figures, or you're a 7-figure gross income? 6-figure, so gross revenue business, right? And he's going to be thriving to
million's coming next year.
That's
baby.
Right, 7 figures. So, and we're going to have you on 6 months from now, Dale. One of the things with Go for CO is that we want to build a following for Dale, a following for Top Floors and More. Hopefully people get impassioned. They start sharing this story so that people can hear like what it takes to really start a flooring business and the trials and tribulations you went through. So we like to end with something called the CEO mindset, right? So the value proposition for the C is client experience. So Dale, tell us why Top Floor and More brings the best client experience. What do you guys do different?
We treat people like it's our house, right? So if I have a client or their business, I treat them like it's our place, and I'm straight up honest with them, and I don't gouge them. If there's a mistake that happens or something, I eat it. because it's not their fault. You know, they're worried, they're not wanting to spend a ton of money that they don't necessarily want to spend, because a lot of time a flooring job is a necessity. And I could gouge, but I don't, you know, because it's the right thing to do. It's, you know, and my clients, man, all of them, that's why I'm ranked #1 in Google here. Everybody knows, you know what I mean, is because I treat everybody fair. And I'll even try to help them. I'm like, you know, if they're bucking at the price, I'll even tell them, I'm like, look, I've got some videos, you know what I mean, I understand you're hurting some money. I can teach you how to do this on videos. If you call me, I can walk you through some stuff. You know what I mean? They're like, you do that for me? And I'm like, yeah, because my end goal is to help people, to serve people. And so, you know, you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Wow, what a old school and great saying, right? And truly one of those kind of golden rule type things that you have. So help me understand too, and the community. E in the CEO is employee engagement. So what are you doing to keep your 8 employees engaged? Obviously, you gave a piece of the business to your partner, to your son. But what is it that makes a difference at Top Floor? Why are people staying around to work for Top Floor and More?
Because I treat them with respect. You'll have a lot of contractors that yell at guys. Like one of my guys, he's been with me for a few years, and his old boss, I mean, would treat him like dirt. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you don't know what you know what I mean? Treating them bad and yelling at them and, you know, degrading them. And I do none of that. I talk them up. I'm like, man, you're awesome. You did such a great job. I'm always filling them with positive energy, sharing with them where we're going as a company. Buy them lunch. Don't buy them lunch every day, but I buy them lunch, you know, and I pay them for travel time. It's all the little things that I do, you know, and plus I pay them a good wage, you know, for the ones that are worth it. For the other ones, not so much, you know, but I always encourage them. I'm like, how's life going? You know, they all tell me what's going on in their lives. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's like I'm a life coach. We're a very open, honest company. You know what I mean? We're an open book, and I share my story with them. And you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I've been there. You know what I mean? I know exactly how you feel. I can help you with that. And so they're family.
I love it. Well, hey, there's nothing better than to get personal. Obviously, they know that you're the boss, but you also have come down to the level, right? It's kind of like our kids, right? When they're little, they always say you got to kneel down and look at them face to face, not tower over them and talk like they're beneath you, but get to their level and explain why daddy or mom got mad, right? And is not appreciative of their attitude at that point. So awesome. Hey, the O is for operational excellence. What do you think Top Floor and the value proposition that you guys bring to the table? What does the operations look like? Why are you guys the best?
Man, it's just that we've done it for so long. We don't take shortcuts. If it, you know, a lot of times, and I'm guilty of doing it before in the past. I just learned my lesson. You know, there's a reason why you have to take steps to do things. That it has to be right. That I don't like callbacks. I want my customers happy, first of all. And for two, it's because it's the right thing to do. So if the president called me and said, hey, we need our floor refinished in the White House, I would not be nervous whatsoever, man. I'd jump on that like a hobo in a ham sandwich.
I love it.
You know, so it's just taking pride in my work, really. I mean, I'm confident in it. We've got the right equipment. If equipment's not acting right, man, I'll go get more. Yeah. You know, I'm always buying stuff because there's nothing worse than not having the right tools and equipment and trying to save money. Well, if I go buy the tool over here for cheaper, yeah, but then you're going to buy it in another week after it breaks down, you know? And so it's like I go ahead and I don't act stupid with my money, but I don't, because I don't do it by debt. I don't go into debt. But I make a reasonable, you know, just because I don't want to waste time and stuff like that. I want to make sure I have the right tools for the job. So we got different tools that we could use on a different job, like doing a wood floor, but you can't because of a certain situation. So I make sure we have it for whatever, you know, and so that we could do anything without having to worry about equipment breaking down and somebody's house getting full of dust. I just bought a vacuum that was like $5,000.
Wow.
And that was right just to keep the dust out of people's house while we're standing them. Even though we got everything taped off, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, because if we get dust everywhere, then I got to pay a cleaner, which we have a cleaning part too, and they'll come in and clean the person's house after we're done, just to be nice. I don't charge them for it. I just do that to be nice. So this helps save on that. You know what I mean? So the vacuum sucks like all the dust up. It's like got all these different gadgets. It's nice.
$5,000, right? And you know, it's some people would go, "Wow, a $5,000 vacuum," but not only does it save you money, but just it makes the customer feel so good to come back and be like, "Hey, you know," it's kind of like moving, right? I think some movers would be wise to say like, "Hey, let me set everything up for you as part of the service." I think that would be cool instead of just dropping boxes at the new house, right? That would be maybe there's a mover out there that catches that idea and becomes number one like you. So. Yep. Awesome, brother.
Take the extra mile.
Yeah, go the extra mile. They're part of operations, right? And obviously there's so many things to this business. I really want to thank you so much, Dale, for coming on board the Go for CEO channel. And, you know, we're excited to have you in about 6 to 12 months. We'll reconnect, find out where you're at. Hopefully we're pacing to that over seven figure, and really just seeing kind of what you're going to do with the franchising, what you're going to do with the next partnership, what you're going to do to the customer base, and maybe some different ideas that you're doing. So we wish you the best in 2021. Any final words from you?
And just, if there's anybody out there, just, if you have something in your heart, don't quit on yourself, you know, because you're doing yourself a disservice. So, you know, just do not quit on yourself. Don't go into debt. Just delay your gratification, because if you keep it up for 10 years or whatever, you know what I mean, depending on what you're in, there's going to be a day where money's not an issue. But right now, it's just stay calm, watch your money, and do not give up. You know, do not give up. If there was days to where if I didn't have a job, it wouldn't matter, because I'd go door to door and I would get a job that day. I'm not coming home until I have a job. You know what I mean? So a good book for that is called Start With Why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that book. Well, hey, you know, let's tell everybody too. I just want to make sure I don't forget website, phone number, you know, social medias. Where are you at?
Okay, it's Top Floors and More LLC in Paducah, Kentucky. My website is topfloorsmore.com. And then on Facebook, it's just Top Floors and More LLC. The shop number is 270-557-6506.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, thank you so much again. Excited to have you on, and excited to in a few months or a year to kind of see that journey of where you go next. So thanks so much again for coming on the Go for CEO channel. And hey, everybody, smash that like button. Leave a comment. I know Dale will be very eager to answer any questions. You know, I want to get more interaction on this channel. I know the subscriber base is growing. We went from 49 last month to now we're at 58 this month. So we're growing little by little, but excited to have people on like Dale. I hope that you really appreciate the story like this, a really, you know, homegrown American business, someone that had a vision, has a heart, has maybe, you know, had some trials and tribulations in their life, but they're not letting go and they're keeping it going. So awesome. Thanks again, Dale.
Thank you.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, I appreciate you know, coming on board. Did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Okay.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Awesome. Well, cool. What I do, I'm not the best editor at this moment, but I basically let Zoom. It allows me to do some trimming and stuff if I messed up at the beginning or something like that. But I'm actually starting to think of like. I've gotten some suggestions just from guys I actually respect, not just my friends telling me I'm doing bad, but some guys that I respect that have actually built some really big YouTube channels, just like maybe some intro video or doing something to kind of take snippets of this and put it into this other thing. But since I'm still learning the editing side, excited to have you on and really appreciative. So, hey, man, you know, I love the story of, and basically because it's interesting, right? I'm in the banking and business lending side. I kept some of my fixed income and products on the financial side, and then now I'm trying to build this YouTube channel. But it's really interesting to hear, you've used zero debt and had to scratch and claw, but really I think that hopefully is going to resonate for a lot of people on, some people maybe go into business and they don't have the best credit, and they're like thinking, well, maybe I go to a hard money lender, or maybe I give up part of my business for an investor, and hopefully they see and they catch that, hey, you could still bootstrap this thing and get it to a level. And maybe they do get into debt because it's good leverage, and there is good debt out there, to leverage your business and grow. But it's interesting the way that you've been able to do it with zero debt. So I think that was one of the things I picked up on very quickly. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Awesome, brother. Well, I love, let's stay in touch. And, if you have any other business owners that around, was it Pachuca, right?
Paducah, yeah.
Paducah, or people that I mean, please refer them over to me either through Facebook or Messenger or my phone number. I think I left it on the Messenger for you. I'd love to interview these people. That's what this is. It's that 0 to 25 million in revenue. It's that real story about how did you do it. Sometimes we get a little bit deeper into the marketing or the facets of operations stuff, but I thought it was really awesome. So thanks again.
Right. Yeah, I'll talk to my brother. He's got a pretty good business, so I'll see if he's interested.
Awesome. Yeah. I think
he's a quiet type.
Okay. Well, hey, ask him to see some of the videos. Some people are they're not demonstrative. They're just telling their story, and some people are going to relate to those. Some people are like, a little bit more, like you and I speaking with our body language and getting into it. So, it's cool. But cool, brother, man. I'll talk to you soon.
You're awesome, man.
All right. Thank you, Dale.
Keep it up.
Take care.